like the vast Anza Borrego Desert State Park. The Ram Radio is headquartered in beautiful Borrego Springs, yet stretches across the far reaches of the San Diego Backcountry and streaming worldwide. We are Borrego Valley, community radio, The Ram. Listen local or take us wherever you go at theramradio.com.
Hello and welcome to Moments with MJ. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Alexis Hinshaw. I'm here in Ramona, lovely Ramona, speaking with Alexis, who happens to have something that is kind of special to me because she's a baker. She makes cakes, people. So, Alexis, welcome to Moments with MJ.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So, Alexis, let's get into the nitty-gritty of things. I want to know, how long have you been a baker? How long have you had this business?
So I officially started the business in December of 2013 when I was living in Sasebo, Japan. My family is a military family. So
I was like, why were you in Japan? She's filling in the questions. Yeah. Wow.
So we're a military family. My husband and I, between the two of us, we have over 30 years of service in the United States Navy.
Okay.
So I finished culinary school and we moved to Sasebo. I opened up my bakery there and I ran it for the year and a half that we were in Sasebo.
So you had a bakery in Japan?
In my home, just like I do here.
That's amazing.
It was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. The flexibility to work my own schedule, and then to be able to go to all of my kids' events, deal with my husband's deployments, really afforded me the opportunity to do something for myself, make a little money, be creative, and then really fulfill a need that we had in our community of not having any American-style bakeries.
So that was going to be my next question. If you're in Japan, they're probably not used to a lot of the pastries and desserts that we in the U.S. think as common. Like, for example, what was something that you made in Japan that is completely American style, but they went crazy for it? They were just like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever.
So really for them, it was more of the art. It was being able to do the fondant character cakes. That's the biggest specialty that I had over there was, Alexis, can you make ninjago? Alexis, can you make this? I made a cake that had a high heel shoe on it, and I'd never done any of those things before. So my answer was always, well, let's see what happens. And then it either turned out or it didn't, and we improvised. But it gave me a lot of opportunities to practice the craft in a way that was a not high pressure environment.
So you were in the Navy.
Yes.
After the Navy, you just jumped right into saying, now I'm going to go to culinary school. Or was it something you had already been doing a lot of without going to school, and you just had a knack, a gift, if you will?
So I had some gap years in there. I got out of the Navy. My husband got his commission, and that was the first time that we moved to Japan.
Okay.
So there, my kids were young. They were 5 and 2, and then my third was born while we were there. So there really wasn't this exploration of this craft so much at that time. Then we moved to Nebraska, and I decided now's the time I'm going to use my GI Bill and take myself to school. But I also wanted to find, knowing my family's lifestyle, that we really love living overseas and wanted to have that opportunity again. What's a job that I can do, maintain the flexibility that I like, because I do have 3 kids and a husband that deploys.
Right.
And still be within my interests.
Of course.
I had a friend that was a pastry chef, and I always marveled at the things that she made and said, you know what, I'm going to take myself to culinary school and see what happens. And here I am, like 15 years later, still absolutely loving it.
And Alexis doesn't know this, you guys, but I'm a certified professional chef.
Oh, I love it.
So when I saw her cakes online, my eyes were kind of, they were a cross between anime eyes and the cartoon eyes that just kind of bulge out.
Well, I appreciate it. That's the best compliment I think I've ever had, and I love it.
They're beautiful. They're just, I love that a lot of them are abstract, but I love that they're colorful. You all know how I love color. They're very colorful. They look like they would taste divine, and they're just so pretty, and each and every one look unique. And none of us are the same. So to get a cake that fits whatever you want is great, because we've all had standard cakes. You can go and you can get like a Costco cake or a Vons or whatever. You can pick those cakes up. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those. You can get those, but there's something extra special when you can say, like you said, if I said, oh, what would I want? Oh, you know what? I want a horse cake. It doesn't need to be a standing horse. Maybe it's just the head of a horse and it's this color. But maybe just for fun, we'll make the main purple because that's my favorite color. And I say, Alexis, this is what I'm envisioning. Just go. And I want the cake to be yellow cake because that's my favorite thing to go for. And then I just want the icing to be milk chocolate. And then I say, just have fun.
Make it happen. That's what I usually...
because I'm really not going to, I'm not, as someone that's worked professionally as a chef, I get it. And I did catering too. So I love it when a client says, just go.
So I actually turn people down. If I have a client that comes to me and sends me a picture and says, I want this cake and I want it to look exactly like this, I generally tell them I can't do that because, one, I didn't make that cake to begin with.
Right.
And even on the cakes that I make myself, I can't duplicate and make something the same exact way as I did it the last time, because who knows how long it was. I may not have the same materials. The temperature in my kitchen may not be the same. Like, there's so many different variables in that I try to tell people, if you send me a picture, it's an inspiration. I'm going to work off this, but if it's, say, my wedding cakes, those are some of my absolute favorites, and I enjoy getting to know the couple or the family. There's been tastings I've done where I've had mom, sisters, brothers, best friends, and like everybody's sitting around my dining room table doing a cake tasting, and I just get to watch them interact with each other and be able to take notes and really get a feel for that wedding, and then to be able to translate it into an edible form of a cake. And there's, to me, nothing more special than being asked to make somebody's wedding cake.
So Alexis, what's the name of your business?
It is Alexis's Cakery.
And when I saw that, Alexis Cakery, it made me think of artistry. And you describing how it's really hard for you to duplicate something you've done. Like you said, time could have passed, things are different, nothing is the same. You're like an artist.
I don't think you could ask Van Gogh to create his own piece of art if he was still here. I don't think any artist really could make it exactly the same way. And that's the beauty of art, is every day it takes a different flow and a different movement to it. And sometimes if people are ordering a cake from me, they're generally going to get a little bit extra than what we've already decided on, because sometimes if I'm in the midst of creating it, half of the order is for me because I'm going to post pictures of the artwork. And so if I want to add a little something extra that we didn't talk about, sometimes I'm just going to do it, and hopefully they don't mind. If it's something really drastic, I'll have a conversation, but like adding a little bit of edible glitter or some dust, because I know that it makes, like in flowers, it makes detail work stick out, because you're working with not just the ingredients or the stuff with the cake, but you're also dealing with lighting, and you want that movement and that texture, and you want light to pick up in different ways because it just makes things look differently. And those are all the things I'm thinking about when I'm making a cake. I'm really actually not even thinking about what it tastes like. It's more about all those other details, because
we already know it's going to taste yummy.
Well, not just that, but the first way we digest our food is with our eyes. It's not with our stomachs or our taste buds. We see something, and if it looks beautiful,
if it's visually appealing,
our brain is going to tell us that it's going to be good right out the door.
And that's what your pictures did for me. When I saw them online, and I kept watching and looking at them over, and we had a few videos, and I would just watch it again and go, that's a beautiful looking cake.
Thank you.
It's just so beautiful. And it really is art.
Some of them, I actually, it's made me sad when they've left the house because I didn't get to look at them anymore.
You're like, but if it stays in the house, you might eat it.
I do. Well, I just go back there and I peek in my fridge and just be like, okay, you're still beautiful. And I shut the door and go do something else. But there have been a few where I'm just like, oh, man, I feel like I just put everything into that thing. And it came out exactly the way I wanted it to. And it was beautiful to look at. And I just hoped that the people that were going to enjoy it saw it the same way that I did.
Yes, as an artist, because in my point of view, as an artist, I see you as another artist.
Well, thank you.
It's just another way of doing it. And one thing that they always said in culinary school was cooking, like being a chef, is art, and then baking is science. So for you, was it easy to make sure that you're measuring everything out properly and balancing that out?
For the most part.
Or are you an eyeball girl that you can just go, dude, this is how much I need?
It depends on the ingredient, because some of those ingredients are pretty particular.
Yes, they are.
I don't eyeball salt.
No, never eyeball salt.
Baking soda and baking powder, like those are things I never eyeball those, because they will change the taste, but they also can change the texture. And
Exactly.
so I generally measure all those. As a chef, there's some recipes that I have that go as far as weighing all the ingredients out. Like if I'm making macarons, like that really is a science in there. And I'm actually even particular about how old the eggs are making macarons, because the older the egg, you lose the proteins that give you the nice little bumpy rise in that delicate little macaron cookie of deliciousness.
She's not wrong, people. She's not wrong. And right now you're listening to Moments with MJ here on Borrego Valley Community Radio, the RAM, BVCR, as you know, our abbreviated way of saying our name. And I'm speaking with Alexis Hinshaw, who is the owner and the baker and artist behind Alexis's Cakery. Okay. And she's based here in Ramona, yes?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, and she's already told us about having a military background, transitioning right into being a baker, going through school and all that. What school did you go through?
So I went to my Metropolitan Community College in Omaha, Nebraska. We can do that over if you...
You're good.
I forgot I was on. Yeah, so I went to Metropolitan Community College in Omaha, Nebraska. We were stationed there at the time, and it was ranked 10th in the nation for their culinary department when I went there. So it was a really good school, great instructors. I learned a ton. If we were to go back, I would want to go back and take some of their other culinary classes, like proteins, that I didn't take because I didn't think it wasn't part of my degree plan, and I was on a time frame to get it done.
You were doing pastry chef, and that's where your focus was. And for me, I was doing culinary, so I was having to learn about all of it, including baking as well. And for me, when I was working as a cook in a restaurant here in San Diego County, I worked underneath a pastry chef. And one of the things she said to me, she said, "You have a knack for pastries. I want you to keep working with me while we're doing all the Sunday brunches," which is tons of baking for that. And she said, "You should go back to school and become a pastry chef." I said, "I've just finished school to become a regular chef, so you really want me to go back?" So obviously I did not, but it's still something that I enjoy doing, and I enjoy seeing how it comes to fruition, seeing how taking all these raw materials and putting it all together, and then poof. Because for a lot of us, and you especially, poof, and there is this beautiful cake.
I have to tell my husband all the time, because he comes by my workstation and he'll be like, oh, I can tell on his face, like he's not sure if it's the way it's supposed to look. And I just tell him, like, trust the process, like just trust the process. And then he'll come back a few hours later and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm all done, come check it out." And he'll be like, "Wow, that's amazing." And I'm like, "See, I told you, just trust the process."
Yes, really.
Because sometimes it has to get ugly before it looks pretty.
That's true, because when you look at batter, I mean, a lot of times batter doesn't look really pretty to begin with. And then it is one of those things where you're cooking it and you're looking, is it going to be okay? Oh, does it need more time? Oh, should I have added more butter? Oh no, it said exactly this much butter and it needed to be, was it not cold enough? Did I need that cold ice water? It's like all these things can run through your head. And then, like you said, trusting the process. So this is not your first rodeo.
No.
You've been doing this.
And I have to tell myself sometimes too, of like, if I don't think it's looking quite the way that it should. So I got an opportunity. I like doing fun cakes. I like ones that challenge me and make me think. So I had a lady sent me a picture of, the movie advertisement for Jaws, where it's the water and you see like the 2D profile of Jaws' head coming up and she's swimming across the water. And she was like, do you think that you could make Jaws? Like, I don't need the water and all that. I just want like the shark of Jaws coming up. And I'm like, do you want it flat or are we? And she was like, well, if you can 3D it, that would be great. And automatically I'm like, that was the cake. Like, I couldn't wait to get my hands on this cake because I was going to carve the mouth out and I was going to make all the veining and the roof of his mouth and I was going to airbrush in there so it gave you that dark, murky, like creepy depth of his mouth in there, and like the teeth where they looked like they were, had been like had decay and all this stuff. And
yes.
I'm carving this thing and I'm trying to shape it so it's just like stacks of cake with buttercream in there, and I'm trying to carve out the mouth and I'm looking at all the sides to be like, is it even? Like, he doesn't look like he's smiling because I'm like, I don't want a happy Jaws. Like, I want a sinister Jaws because he can't be smiling. And then the nose has to be like pointy on there. And where are the eyes going to go? Do I have the eyes cut out on the right sides? And I'm looking at this because for me, it just looks like a hunk of cake. And my husband walked by and he's like, and I'm like, it's going to be fine. We're going to trust the process. And then I started getting the fondant on and I started like making the breathing gills on the side. And then I brought that airbrush out and like between the shine of the back of him with the gray, I did it with like a metallic. So like it really, as if he was in the sunlight picking up the light in there. And I had black over it to really get into where his muscle structure would be at. And like around the eyes, and then putting like the dark eyes. Once the eyes go into everything, that's when a character really comes into life.
It's true.
But like trying to get that mouth in there where it was all red, but then it was dark, and like it just looked like depths. Like you didn't want to go in there. I'm like, except you wanted to because it's chocolate cake with peanut butter buttercream under there, and it was awesome. And I got done with that, and I just took like a big sigh of relief, and I was like, man, that's a good looking cake.
I love it.
And that was one of the ones where, like, when I had to leave it, like, I wanted to give him a little kiss on his nose and say goodbye because he was just, it was perfect. I loved him.
And about how many hours did it take for you to do Jaws?
So not including baking, it probably took me about 6.
Okay.
Because people don't realize that even when I'm building it, there's time that it has to go back in the fridge. And that's accounted for time. It's not productive time, but it's still required time because that thing needs to chill down.
Yes,
because if
does.
I just put buttercream in between cake and then try to cut it and trim it, it's just going to start sliding around. So like I need it to go back in the fridge, firm back up, so that way I can actually get in there with my small knife and make those small adjustments. And then once I do, then it has to go back in the fridge again. It needs to be crumb coated and all of that before we start laying on all the detail work.
And there you go. So this is not an overnight thing. And if you're just tuning in to Borrego Valley Community Radio, this is Moments with MJ, and I'm speaking with the lovely Alexis Hinshaw, who is the owner and chief baker of Alexis's Cakery. And she was just describing one of her jobs of doing a Jaws cake, which is just phenomenal. So I have a question for you. You've talked about that one cake. Tell me more about the types of cakes that you make. Like, why do you make them the way you do? What makes you design them? If someone doesn't give you an idea and they just say, I want something, I want these flavors, have at it. How do you decide how to make a cake for someone with not a lot of information given?
I try my best to draw as much as I can out of somebody first. What's the event? How old is the person that's receiving the cake? What do you do for work, or what are some of your hobbies? Like, if I really need to get something, I try to get, even if it's what's your favorite color, so at least I have something to work off of. That really helps. Most of the time it's about the event itself and like where it's going to be at and who the attendees are. If it's a work function, a lot of times they're a little bit more basic, but if it's a special event, then a lot of times I put part of myself and how I'm feeling into that cake. And some of them strike me personally. Like I have a few that are probably like in my top 5 of cakes. And it's kind of inspired me to offer something once a month, because if I'm not doing this, then I'm like a full-time volunteer with other things. And how do I bridge those two things that I love? And so I've been blessed with my job. I'm fortunate to be able to work from home. I'm fortunate to be able to have a good client base. But the thing that was missing for me was, how do I give back? Because I always feel like you get back what you give out. And so in order to, I feel like, maintain being successful is, to kind of just keep on giving. So I started a thing that I call my hero cake. Okay. And so for once a month, I try to collect a story from somebody where they could use a cake. And for me, since I'm a veteran and I'm very deep into our veterans, I try to have it either go to a military family or a veteran family. So the first one I actually got to deliver was for a 9-year-old girl last month who was ringing the bell of being cancer-free. And she happened to be the daughter of a guy that my husband served with. And so our family had been kind of watching her cancer treatments over the last 2 years. And she had an experimental treatment she was doing here, got picked up at Children's. And when we found out that she was cancer-free at 9 years old and got to ring the bell, I was like, I have to do this cake. It was amazing.
Okay, so Alexis does not know this about me, but most of you do know that is so, those type of stories, I'm a crier. It's all I can do not to start crying right now. I'm trying to keep my eyes from watering the way they're feeling it, because that is such a powerful story. It's so touching, it's so loving, it's so caring, it's so human.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
If you've been listening to any of my shows, whether it's Moments with MJ or it's Winery Wednesdays with MJ, the big part of my shows are about people. What are the people doing in their own community? What are they bringing to the table? How are they making the world a better place? And see, if I keep going, I'll be crying and you won't be able to understand any of my questions for the rest of this time. So I'm going to try to keep it under control, but that's the type of thing that I'm always looking for. Those are the type of people I want to talk to, because in my own way, I want their story to be told where they might not get a chance to tell their story. As a small businesswoman myself, I'm always on the lookout for other small women businesses, but that doesn't mean I just want to talk to women. I will talk to men just as easily. There's no discrimination on that, but it just happens because I am a woman. Those are the ones I'm gravitating to. Those are the ones that are coming into my path, and I welcome it all. I welcome it all. And what you did for that family, for that girl, I can only imagine. Only 9 years old and finally being cancer-free and being able to ring that bell. I get it because I have family members that have had cancer and that have cancer right now. I've lost friends to cancer in the past couple of years. So all of this is very, very real to me, which creates all those emotions as you were telling your story. And for those of you that are tuning in, this is Moments with MJ. I'm speaking with Alexis Hinshaw, and she has a bakery here in Ramona, home bakery.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful thing that we're able to do now. And it's called Alexis's Cakery. And her cakes are outstanding. If you find her on Facebook, because are you only on Facebook? Or
Facebook, Instagram, and then my kids have just...
They
just taught me how to TikTok. So, it's ugly, all folks. Right. My TikToks aren't pretty. I don't have hours all day to work on them. Most of the time, my hair's not even brushed. But you're getting real, what it is to be in my cakery. Now I
gotta follow you there too, because I follow her already on Facebook. So now that I know you have an Instagram, I also have a TikTok, so I will follow you on those.
Please do, because I need
these are my personal ones, right? So I'm following her as the radio station, but I also follow her as myself because I want to see them too. I want to see that in my feed, and especially on my Instagram. I love seeing all the creative. Most of the people I follow on Instagram are mainly creatives. So I've got people that are sewing, people that are bakers, people that are working with wood. I have it all. Mm-hmm. So I'm always getting lots of pretty, bright, happy colors all over the place. And I get to see so much creativity that it's inspiring to me to see someone else doing it, going, oh, maybe that's what you need to kind of get yourself all fired up again about whatever I'm doing creatively. And it's just a wonderful thing. And that is a beautiful story. It's so touching and very personal. And I love that you're doing that. That is a wonderful thing that you're doing for your community.
I remember being a spouse. So part of the target audience I want to reach with this is, I was active duty, but I was also a spouse. And being a spouse of somebody who's deployed and you're, wrangling 3 kids and you're responsible for everything and it's your birthday that rolls around and you're like, well, I could buy myself a cake from the store. I could bake myself a cake, or I could just say, who needs cake? I'm hoping that people will notice their friend or their neighbor and say, you know what, here's a story for you. Her husband's deployed. I'd like to surprise my friend with the birthday cake. Because I know for me, it would bring me joy to do that for somebody else, knowing that I've been in their shoes before.
If I had known that I could get a cake from her before my birthday, which was this month, I would have ordered an Alexis cake. I'm just saying, because I saw the cakes and I was just like, but I still have a few weeks left in April. So, I have 1 week and a half. I can squeeze in another cake.
People do half birthdays too, so you can.
Oh, see, I like that too. Just have a party every month, get a cake from Alexis. But what was your most favorite cake design, Alexis? Was it the shark one, 100%, or was there something else that was even more outstanding?
So one of my favorite things to do, I absolutely love them. The first time I got one, it made me so excited. I love making a black wedding cake.
That's interesting.
I
know that's a thing too.
And they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, to me, I'm like, if you are that couple that likes the drama, don't go with a white wedding cake. Go with a black wedding cake.
Do you do black with gold or silver, or is there?
So I've done some where it was the black with. I used some scroll work on there, and then I dusted that with silver because it really makes the details pop out on it. I mean, it looked great with just black on black, but at the same time, adding that silver on there, it was just gorgeous. And then you throw some glitter on top.
It's very classy.
It is. It's a very streamlined and people say white looks clean lines. Mm-hmm. Black also can have the same look. And if you're adding the right flowers with it, it's a beautiful backdrop because they just pop right out against the cake. So
I've been surprised by seeing black cakes, and I'm like, that really is beautiful.
Oh, my mom the first time.
Because I wouldn't think about it, but you feel, because we're so conditioned to think of black as being morbid, it's for funerals, etc. But when you see it in a cake, and like you said, the details, adding the right color flowers, adding the dusting of the edible glitter, woo!
It is. It's especially if you have an evening time reception and the lighting is going to be right. It really can give you that look at me, you can look at the bride, but I really want you to look at me kind of cake moment that I feel like every cake really wants in their life. But I think that they're absolutely beautiful. So anytime I've been the go-to when people have specifically looked for black wedding cakes in the area, they're like, oh, go to Alexis. She loves them, and I do. I think doing white ones are great too. I personally, all of them are fun to make, and I've made ones as small as you could put it in the size of a shoebox standing up.
So you do the small cakes too, not just the big ones. So if someone wanted a smaller cake,
I treat every cake fairly because every cake needs its day.
So I could get so let me figure this out, you guys.
The smallest size I make,
I can get a small birthday cake. Well, I already have 2 cakes at home from a belated birthday celebration this past week, and so I have 2 whole cakes that my family gave me. So I've got 2 cakes at home now, and you guys know that I'm not supposed to have all of that sugar and butter and dairy. It's just so many things, and so I have to space it out because we're freezing one, and we're still gonna have to eat on the other. And
people don't realize that they can even do that.
you could
That
totally
they can
freeze a
freeze a
cake.
cake.
You could totally freeze a cake.
People don't realize every single cake they get from me has been frozen because it's the best way for me to be able to work on them, and it really locks the moisture into the cakes. So like I've never
They
had
do not
a
dry
dry
out.
cake.
I've had wedding cake years later, still fine.
So I end up being I've been the babysitter of many anniversary cakes in my freezer because
That's smart.
people forget them, and because
Like,
what I do is
they're going to remember at some point that Alexis has our cake.
I just had one picked up this week that got married in October.
Wow. So you've had it since October.
I've had one. I had to call them like, your anniversary is this week. Would you like your anniversary cake? Because I try to make them in advance. So some of my orders, depending on the size of the cake, what I'll do is take the batter out of their original wedding cake, use my small little 4-inch cake that is just perfect for about, 2 to 4 servings, depending on the person. And I make it all at the same time, double wrap them, stick them in a Ziploc freezer bag, and they go directly into my freezer. So they've never been left at a venue. Nobody's accidentally cut them open. The person that was responsible for, making sure nothing happened to it, they don't have to worry about it because it's at my house.
Well, you guys can't see my face, but I'm just like so impressed right now because that's incredibly smart to do that. Because a lot of times we keep the top of the cake, and you're responsible as the wedding couple or whoever's in charge of it. But usually the wedding couple will take that, and then you have to wrap it up and seal it up and make sure that it doesn't get freezer burn, doesn't get any weird flavors from your freezer, and it's just like it's so stressful to make sure that cake is wrapped up properly. But if you have someone like Alexis in your corner, she's taking care of it. She's got it covered. It's the exact same cake, miniaturized, and then you just come back and get it for your anniversary.
Preferably before your anniversary.
Well, yeah.
I'll start charging people rent.
You really, I was thinking, I'm like, does she charge for holding milk? You might have to start doing, October is a long time to have it.
She was a friend of mine, so I wasn't too worried about it.
She's got the end right there. No, that is excellent. That's a really great idea.
I think so.
My
because
wheels are turning. I'm like, when can I get a cake now that they're going to finish these two? And we have our anniversary is in August. And that's a nice hot month locally where everything wants to melt. So
it's funny you said melt because I've actually saved a wedding. Somebody had a cake emergency. If you can believe that there's cake emergencies.
I believe it.
There's really cake emergencies. I was at a VFW event, and I kept getting called over and over and over again from a number I didn't recognize. And so I got done with the ceremony we were doing. I checked my phone, and I have this woman freaking out on the phone of like, we're not from here. We have a wedding today in Julian, and our cake melted. They picked it up in San Diego, put it in the back of their trunk, drove it to Julian. No. They weren't from here and didn't realize the temperature difference between San Diego and the temperatures we can get up here. And they opened the trunk, and whatever cake they had, like all that buttercream had melted off the side of it.
I would cry.
Well, I would have cried too, except I was actually in tears the day before with this cake because this cake was the first time I had fallen for a scam. Somebody had ordered a cake from me, and I made it, and it was a giant carrot cake. It was, I want to say it was 12 inches of cake, 2 layers. So they were planning to feed like 40 people with it. So like it wasn't a small cake.
No.
And they ghosted me. They didn't call me for pickup, and I didn't get paid for it. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this cake? Well, luckily for me, like my son's a wrestler, and we had his wrestling banquet that weekend. I'm like, well, these kids will devour this thing. Mm-hmm. But then I had this phone call that came through. And to me, it's the universe, it's the Lord, it's people making things happen for reasons. Mm-hmm. And I felt like my reason for making this cake and being upset that nobody, came to get it taught me 2 lessons. To just, 1, take a deposit.
Always a deposit, people.
And 2 is to just keep trusting the universe, because if you put out good, good's going to come back to you. And I was able to supply a cake for this wedding where theirs had melted, and everything worked out fine. They were super excited. They even took a picture of me for their wedding photos.
Aww.
For the person that saved their wedding cake. And it
huge.
turned a situation I was into where I was not happy. I wasn't happy with myself. It taught me a business lesson, but it also was able to let this couple be able to have
benefit and blessing to them.
Yes. So.
Okay, so Alexis is apparently trying to make me cry today.
This is why I love my job.
These stories, oh my goodness.
You know, that's the beauty of being able to do what I do
story.
is, you know, you can go to Costco and you can go to a grocery store and just get a cake. The thing that I enjoy the most about what I do is I get to be a part of so many different people's special occasions.
Indeed.
I've made a cake for a woman where she was messaging me and she was like, I don't want you to take this weird, but have you ever made a cake that was kind of like a booby cake? And I was like, well, are we doing this like bachelor party? What are we doing here? And she says, no, actually, I'm making the decision to have a mastectomy. And I'm having a bye-bye to the tatas party. And she's like, actually, what I want to do is I want to take a hammer to them. So like nobody's actually eating this cake. She's like, I want cupcakes that everybody can have. But she said, for me, it's symbolic of being able to take this situation that I'm in and have some fun with it, but kind of in the best way that I can, take some control over it, because this is my decision that I'm making before my health gets worse. And after that, I said, you know, like, again, all in. I can't wait to make this cake for you because it's got meaning behind it. And I don't do any orders unless they bring me joy.
That's important.
It's the thing that I get to do the most. So whether it's a baby's first birthday or baby reveal, when I get to be the first one to know,
because you get to put the inside of the cake.
Because I get to do whatever the thing is that they want me to do, and I get to be the first one besides the doc to know what this couple is going to have.
So they give you the information from the doctor. They don't have.
They have no idea, and it's a little secret that I get to keep. And the fact that people are trusting me with these special moments, like, there's nothing like it. I mean, you can help people all day long, but there's a difference between helping somebody and having people trust you. And that's the part that values the most to me in my business, is the fact that people trust me with their families and their memories and their moments, and I just don't want to screw that up. Like, I want it to be the best thing that they can have, because a lot of these times, hopefully, you only have that one time first.
That's true. And if you're just tuning in right now with Moments with MJ, I'm speaking with Alexis Hinshaw. She is the owner and chief baker of her own company called Alexis Cakery. And she has told me 3 stories now where I'm almost brought to tears, because they're touching stories about how something as, for most of us, just a simple cake. We just think, okay, it's just a cake. She's taken the idea of it just being, quote unquote, you can't see my little ear quotes, a simple cake, to no longer being a simple cake, to being something that is drawing people together. That's being very cleansing and therapeutic for the woman that was deciding that she was going to go ahead and do a mastectomy. Wanting to make that type of cake in the shape of those body parts, you know, and then just being able to smash it was therapeutic to her. We all have different ways of coping with things and handling things, and making the cake for the little girl that was finally able to ring the bell because she was cancer-free at 9 years old. Those are things that, it goes beyond being a simple cake, Alexis.
It's
that
not.
goes to being part of a moment that is always going to be remembered. You're not just making a cake for these people. In my opinion, what's happening is they're getting these cakes, and they're always going to remember that. They're going to remember you saved the wedding. You gave this little girl a cake that made her heart probably just sing, and she's always going to remember that. Kids remember these things. They will go through those details. And the woman with the breast, dealing with getting the mastectomy for breast cancer, I mean, those are all things that it was a way for her to, like you said, she's taking back that power and saying, you know what, I'm doing this. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to do this. And now I have a cake to help me process through it. 3 amazing examples of how you are helping your community.
It helps me too, though. Like, it's just as much for me as it is for them. Like, if it didn't matter to me, it could just be like any other job. I could be doing anything else. But for me, like, these things, they're personal and they're meaningful.
Yeah, they are.
And like I said, sometimes when they leave, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of sad to see that one go, because I feel like a little bit of me goes out the door with all of those cakes.
And just listening to you talk, Alexis, it makes me think about the book and movie like Water for Chocolate. How everything she was feeling, the main character in the movie. If you haven't seen it, you guys, you know how I love my movies. And I love a good love story, and I love just the passion that she has. She actually knits in that story too, besides cooking. And everything she was feeling always came into the food. So if she was angry or if she was feeling feisty, the spice came out of the food. If she was sad, the food projected that to the other people that ate it. So whatever she put into the food was affecting those around her too. And she put her heart and soul into it, figuratively. But in the movie, it made it come out like, wow, it's not just whatever's affecting her is affecting everyone else through whatever she's cooking. And you're doing the same thing by putting your heart into it. These people are getting things that they might not find elsewhere. Like we've talked about, you can get a cake anywhere. We know that. We've done it. It's common. It's not a big deal. But if you really want something that has heart, that has passion that this woman has, that you just can't see the passion that I can see. If this was video, you could see the passion that she expresses. But she's putting that all into the things that she bakes. She's putting the detail, the love, the care, the time into making something, painstakingly putting all of this in there for each and every person. Each cake is a work of art. I'm going to say it again. It's a work of art because that's how I feel. I've seen the pictures. You're going to have to look at them. I'll get more stuff from Alexis for sure, and tag her and share. When you're listening to this episode of Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram, you're also going to get a chance to look at the things that she's done, because she'll be tagged in it on Facebook, and you'll be able to see pictures, whatever pictures she shares with me, I will share with you guys, and you'll be able to see the pictures of the things that she's done and give you ideas and inspiration for, hey, I want to support someone locally that is a small business, veteran. Why not? This is right up our alley, because daughter of a veteran, aunt, veteran Marine, cousin, veteran Navy, dad, veteran Navy. So we get that in this family, that supporting those people that have fought for our country, that are out there and now are transitioning to doing other things in the world. But she's taking that and she's turning into something so beautiful and so meaningful and so lovely and, dare I say, so delicious.
It is delicious. That is the other part, is they don't just look pretty, but they also taste really good.
And she said carrot cake, and before we got started with her interview, I said, oh, no, I can't tell you why carrot cake. Well, those of you that know, both Mike and myself love carrot cake. He's not much of a sweet person. Like, he's not like into candy or cakes and cookies. And we'll get Girl Scout cookies and support the Girl Scouts and things like that. But if anyone's going to have a sweet tooth in the family, it's me. And I love the sweets. But carrot cake was part of our cake for our wedding.
Oh.
That was one of the big portions. They said, what type of cakes do you want? And they said, oh, we make a carrot cake. And we both were like, oh, we both love carrot cake. So that's my go-to. When I go someplace, I go to a bakery, if they have a carrot cake, I want to test their carrot cake because I know what it should taste like. And I've made carrot cake at home dozens of times. And I love tasting what other people do for their carrot cakes. And each one is so different. Each one is so yummy. And they might put a different spice in there. And I'm like, ooh, what did they put in this one? But they're all so yummy. So when she said carrot cake, I was like, oh my goodness, we love a good carrot cake.
So I've converted people that did not like carrot cake at all into my carrot cake, where now it's like the thing that they order because they feel like they finally had like I don't know, a good one.
I gotta get a carrot cake from you now. At least the 4-inch one. I gotta at least try it.
Yes.
So if you could make, speaking of cakes, because that's what you do, if you could make any cake, Alexis, for anyone living or dead, who would it be and why?
Well,
because
so I
they
don't-
might come up with something really clever.
So it's for me. It wouldn't necessarily be a cake. I make pretzels too. I don't know if you
Really?
saw it on my socials, but I make soft pretzels, like the nice doughy ones. And my favorite band is 311. In fact, I just TikToked about them today because, like I said, my kids are trying to tell me to like do the TikTok thing. So if I'm not in my kitchen, one of my favorite things to do is my husband and I, we go to concerts. Like live music is our thing. And the band 311 has been one of our favorites for a long time. We're those people that go on like crazy vacations with bands on cruises and stuff.
Love it.
And we had the best time. It's so just like soul freeing. And so anyways, I make these soft pretzels, and all of my pretzels are named after either like songs or things about the band. And so if I could get my pretzels to the band, that would be like a pinnacle for me. That would be like my aha moment of like, somebody's actually really paying attention to my work. If the band knows that I made pretzels named after their songs and they actually got to try them. Because every time we're getting ready to go on like one of our trips, whether we're seeing them in Vegas or whether we're going on a Caribbean cruise with them, I usually will do like okay, I'm getting ready to go on my thing. I'm taking pre-orders and I put the song names out there and people order it, and I spend the next couple of days just rolling 5 or 6 different flavors of pretzels, and
Very
it's
cool.
mass hysteria trying to make sure they're all bagged up right and everybody's got what they need, and it's a lot of fun. But to me, it's just one of those anticipation things, and I have a large following for my hand-rolled pretzels
Wow.
too.
So for those listeners, since we do, we're a music station, tell us about the band 311.
So they've been original band members for over 30 years. They're from Omaha, Nebraska. 311, there's people that say negative things about what 311 means, but really what it is it's the Omaha police code for indecent exposure, because when they were in high school, they went skinny dipping in the school pool.
How you guys doing?
So they're kind of like a mix of rock, a little reggae, a little ska, and they're kind of funky, and their whole mantra is stay positive and love your life. And so I try to adapt that to my daily living every day. So a lot of times I'll be in my kitchen, I'll throw my 311 on, and I feel like you just can't be in a bad mood when you listen to them.
And there you go. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to them,
I think
you check them out.
I've seen them like 75 times.
That's quite a bit. So you're going for an even 100 then.
I mean, at least 311, right?
That would make sense considering the name of the group.
Yeah.
I love it. So Alexis is a baker here in San Diego County. She's here in Ramona. And you're listening to Moments with MJ. And we've been talking a lot about delicious cakes and experiences and how a cake can really make a difference when it's done by the right person, Alexis.
I hope so.
I feel like that is really one of the big parts that I'm getting from this interview, is that it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It's not just a pastry.
It's not. Because,
Not the way
again,
you
can
do
just
it.
buy a pastry anywhere. But if you're celebrating a moment, those things call for something a little extra special, a little extra TLC for whether it's a wedding or a birthday or a just because. One of my favorite things, my husband brings me flowers all the time.
Just because.
Just because.
Aw.
And I feel like
What's your husband's name?
His name is, it's DJ, but legally it's Donald, but I've never called him that except for the day we got married.
DJ.
And this is 26 years for us.
Congratulations. What month?
September. September will be 26 years.
Wow, that is amazing. I love it.
3 grown kids. My daughter's getting married next year, and luckily for me, I got the gig to make her wedding cake. She still had me do a tasting for her. Like she had never tasted them before, but whatever.
Your own daughter had to. Okay.
She said it was all about the experience, so I give her that. It's fine.
That's true, because that is one of my most favorite things that we did was to go and do our cake testing, and they just laid it all out, all these different things. We told them what they liked, so there was no chocolate. There was no chocolate cake because.
For me too, it's not one unless they ask for it. It's not one of the choices I put out for a wedding.
Yeah, I don't like chocolate cake. I don't like chocolate ice cream. I like chocolate candy bars, but I don't like which is ironic. I'll drink chocolate milk. I did, but yeah, that's. I love that she did that to you, your own daughter. But it is part of the experience to go.
It was. She wanted part of the experience to do the tasting, so we did it, and
Aww.
I still got the job. So
you still got. Lucky you! She gave you the job. So what about someone that's not related to you? How do they go about getting a cake from you? I mean, do you have like a place that we can visit, a website? Do you do pop-ups?
So I do occasionally. I do pop-ups. Most of my work is on special order. People either contact me, through my Facebook page or from a friend. I've done so this with my son graduating high school and joining the Navy. I've got no more kids at home, so to me this was my year of saying yes. So like I said, this year I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I'm more into doing pop-ups because I've got more flexibility in my time of not having weekends with wrestling tournaments or things going on that they want me to be at, and because I'm a mom and I should be there for those things. But this was, now that that role is kind of still there, but it's not the main role that I have anymore. Being able to put this business ahead and some of these ideas that have floated around in my head now get to actually come out. One of the big steps I took this year was agreeing to do the Taste of Ramona, where there could be a few hundred people coming through, and I'm not doing any sales at it. It's just focusing on the specialty cakes in the weddings, because that's predominantly the most part of my business. I mean, I do some other things, but my main focus is on the specialty cakes. I want people to try the flavors and hopefully plan on me for a future job, or at least spread my name to somebody else. So this year I took the time and I built myself a brochure. I've started getting into different areas of socials in there. One of the biggest leaps that I'm taking this year is I'm going to submit a display cake for the Del Mar Fair.
Yay, high fives.
And they've asked me to come down and be a panelist and a demonstrator on one of their stages. So
wow.
June 12th, if you're going to go to the Del Mar Fair, I'll be in the culinary section at 5:30 p.m. doing a demonstration on how to use different buttercream tips, and how basically my theme is going to be like how you can be the rock star mom of the bake sale with just these simple tools.
Love it.
So I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous about it, but just to be on that stage. My son's going to be home from the Navy, so I've got 5 tickets for him and his friends to come and be in the audience so they can cheer me on.
That is excellent.
But I feel like, now is the time to really put myself out there.
Carpe diem.
I got an email 2 years ago. Was it 2 years? Maybe it was only a year ago, where Food Network had found me, and they were inviting me to go be on one of their Halloween champion competition shows. But my husband and I had already booked the 311 cruise that we were on, and we booked it a year in advance. And the filming was it was 2 weeks long, and that was one of the weeks. And I had to defer, but I kept that email because for me it was a reminder of, you are doing it, and what you make matters.
Mad skills.
And so these days we're I'm looking at Jaws thinking, this thing is not looking right. I look back at my email and be like, keep it together because it's going to. Your work's been noticed and you can do this. And I just try to remind myself that all the time of whenever I start to doubt myself or my abilities or compare myself to other people, or those doubts creep in
Guilty.
of
I'm guilty
maybe
of
it's
doing
not good enough. What if they don't like it? I have to remind myself that people, they'll tell you if they don't like something. They're not as apt to tell you that if what you made them is wonderful. I mean, I love getting that affirmation of like,
Really?
hey, it was great, but so many people won't, they're like, hey, this, thanks. And then the cakes go away and you wonder, like, did they like it? Did it taste right? And I'm like, I think it tastes right because I always have the bowl of scraps to sample.
Well, that's true. That's
just to
very
make
true.
sure. But, getting that email was probably one of the happiest days because it was one of those moments where I felt like I'm not just a home baker. I'm really making something that people
Yes.
find to be special.
Yes, you are. Definitely. And in this time of just jumping in and going, what do you see for yourself? Do you see yourself being in a mortar and brick type building at some point?
I used to think that I wanted to do that, but they're not. I feel like that would stifle my creativity because you're too busy worrying about making the rent. Are you making the overhead? And people aren't coming in to walk out with something that I'm creating and it just be there. If they're coming into a bakery, it's because there's small items that they want to get, and trying to maintain keeping a case full while I'm also trying to make something special for somebody. Those two things can be in conflict a lot because I only have two hands.
Alexis, that's very wise.
Well, I've interned in a bakery when I was in culinary school. I worked in a bakery that was here in town for a little while, and I got to see it firsthand of when I was working at the bakery. She wanted me to make the specialty stuff, but the day-to-day stuff was the stuff that was going out the door.
Right.
And I can't do both at the same time.
No, you can't.
So I like being able to, and at the same time, if it got to be too big, can I keep all that personalization, or am I starting to need staff and have to farm that out? And is it going to be the quality of what I would want it to be going out there? So I feel like if I was to do anything, sometimes the idea, so you're a movie and a chef person. Do you watch the movie Chef with John Leguizamo and Jon Favreau? So you got to see it.
I got to see it. Okay. I know.
They do a food truck, and the guy is a chef. He's trying to get his Michelin star. Has a bad night with the review, and basically takes a little hiatus. Ends up in Miami. He starts out in LA, ends up in Miami, and gets this food truck. And it's just the beginning of food trucks starting to become a thing. And he ends up traveling with the food truck all the way from Miami, stopping in Louisiana and picking up the flavors of New Orleans and poor boy sandwiches. And then he's in Texas and he's picking up brisket barbecue, and he's incorporating all these things into his food truck as he's taking it across, and his kids with him, and he's doing social media. So they're showing up and all right, we're going to be parked here. And next thing you know, there's crowd of people wanting to try what they have. And I just think that something like that would be fun. Even to be the small scale, making cupcakes or whatever, but just to be able to go around. I feel like that's part of my military career. Is my family's been fortunate. We've lived in Europe, we've lived over in Asia, we've traveled a lot, and there's flavor profiles that I've picked up from our travels that I like to try to sneak into my stuff. One of my pretzel flavors that I do is curry, coconut, and golden raisin. It's called Amber. One of their 311 songs.
I can see that.
But
I can see those flavors together.
I had it on a naan bread in Salem, Massachusetts. Always just that flavor just kind of stuck in my head until finally I was like, how can I make this into something? I don't want to make naan bread, but I make pretzels. Let me try this out. And
I love pretzels.
I put toasted sweetened coconut on the top, so it's a little sweet, a little curry, a little salty. It's just,
it sounds yummy. That sounds
delicious.
So good and dangerous at the same time.
It is.
I could probably do 5 of them and then be oh.
Yeah, you'd not want to do that.
I would make myself sick. So those of you that are tuning in to me talking about why am I getting sick? Well, because I would be eating all of her yummy food. I'm speaking with Alexis Hinshaw, and she is a baker, a fabulous baker. She makes cakes, and her business name is Alexis Cakery, based here in Ramona. And we were just talking about if she would want to expand and do more and have like the actual building to be in. But I agree with you. At a certain point, you can't, like you said, two hands. You only have two hands. You can't do it all. And to do to make the things that will pay for the overhead and pay for the electricity and pay for all that stuff that you have to do in a building might take away that joy that you have from just being able, and that spontaneity and the creativity, because you're going to be too tired doing the stuff that's going to take care of business and not get that chance to express yourself as an artist and as a creator of so many beautiful things.
Well,
and it makes sense.
And then I'd have to like wear shoes and not my slippers. And really, I think that's the icing on the cake on that one. Like, I just
pun
can't.
intended.
No, like at my house, like I have a fairly commercial setup. I've been able to slowly piecemeal myself commercial equipment, so I can do as much as I possibly can with the two hands that I have.
Without having to do all the extra stuff. And California has had so many changes for people to have small home-run restaurants and cooking. Like cooking out of your home has been something that's been changed, and they've availed so many people. And I think really that 2020 pushed a lot of people to doing things in their homes.
It really did.
And it helped go, hey, they don't actually need to have an actual building to be doing it. If their homes are following whatever the regulations are, you're good to go.
Yep. And I'm ServSafe certified. I'm licensed through the county with my cottage license.
Just took care of all of your business.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful way to do it. It's allowing people that might not otherwise have the opportunity to have a business.
Yeah, because I thought for a while, like, oh, it'd be great to have my own bakery or it'd be like part bakery, part like little, breakfast and lunch little nook and like sell things like quiche and stuff at it. But I mean, really at the end of the day, having to focus more on the business aspect and then the employees over the craft itself, that to me just was going to stifle what I wanted to do.
And that's how I feel about my business too, is I feel that if I started to, I had to make the decision, because I also knit and crochet and I design things, that if I wanted to get to the point where my stuff was in big stores, because I've seen other designers have their things in stores and I go, wow, their stuff's in Nordstrom's or their stuff's here. How did they get in there? Well, then they have to have all these other people making their patterns. Like you said, what if they're not doing it to your standard? You're going to hire good people. We're not saying that. We're saying that it's just not going to be the same as if you make it with your own two hands, because you know that every single drop of icing is where you wanted it to be. The color's the one you envisioned. There are no changes to the recipe. There's no like, oh, you know what? I think Alexis should have added more salt in this. I'm going to add more salt in it. Oh, no, that's not my recipe. My recipe is my recipe. Please stick with that. So it saves you a lot of stress.
It does.
Having someone else to do it for you and help you out. You get your hands dirty in icing. I mean, that's not really dirty.
No, it's not. It always smells good.
It always smells really good. And
so whenever
your heart is in
you want to know something funny?
Do tell.
So I have 3 mixers in my kitchen. One is a big 20-quart. I call her Big Betty.
Nice.
And then I have 2, regular KitchenAids that are 6 quarts. And whenever I feel like I need some interaction, or it's usually around the holidays, that I call my mixers my staff. And so I bought some googly eyes and I kind of like put them on them.
I love it.
And throw like a little Christmas party in my kitchen. It's really just me and a glass of wine and my 3 mixers.
3 mixers. But that, you know what? They're good employees.
But and they don't complain.
They don't complain. You don't have to worry about anything happening to them.
No, they don't need any bonuses, nothing. No, we're good to go.
I love it. You know what? Because that sounds like something I would do.
It just, I just got to make it, you have to have fun with it. I do spend, time in there by myself, and most of the time it's fine because
you got your 311 and you got your 3 mixers, you're good to go.
I don't work without music in my kitchen, so normally if somebody's calling me, I always have to go in and turn it down because I'm just a big fan of music and I work better with it. And
Agreed.
It's funny because depending on what my order is, my music changes.
Yes.
If I'm working on a wedding cake and I know it's like at one of our beautiful wineries here in Ramona, I'll tend to put on maybe a little Chris Stapleton, a little country feel in there because a lot of times that's the vibe of the cake. Or like if I had one, it was like a fun 80s themed birthday cake. So like I put on Prince and the Revolution on, and I'm like just getting down in my own kitchen, and it does help add that inspiration into some of those cakes that I do, is depending on what the music that's in there.
I love it so very much. So we are wrapping up my show, Moments with MJ, with Alexis Hinshaw of Alexis Cakery, based in Ramona. And Alexis, is there anything that you want to share with me and our listeners? One final thing that you want to share that they should know about you, about what you do, about your business?
Just that everything that I do, it really does come from my heart. And I try to treat every single cake, no matter how big or how small the order is, as if it's my number one priority. Because those moments that people have, it is their number one priority. Really, and I just want to make sure that my work goes through and I can produce for them exceeding their expectations. Because to me, like I said, if it doesn't bring me joy, I don't want to do it. I just want to bring happiness to myself and to my clients, because there's enough ugly out there that I'd rather let the sunshine come through and be happy instead of dwelling on negativity. We don't need that.
She's still trying to make me cry everywhere. No, that's beautiful, Alexis. I 100% agree with you on that. And that's part of what I'm trying to do with this radio station and with my segments, with my episodes. Between the two is to share about people like you. People that are putting their heart and soul into a business and coming out with beautiful things for others. And it's wonderful.
Thank you.
So, Alexis, I want to thank you for taking time to speak with me here. And you have been listening to Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram, and I was speaking with the lovely Alexis Hinshaw of Alexis's Cakery. I will give you all the information. I will share pictures. When you are listening to this episode, you will also have the information on our Facebook page so that you can get a hold of Alexis and get your order. And you know what? Not only make your deposit, I suggest you pay the whole thing in advance. I'm just going to say that. She didn't say that. She said a deposit, but come on. A veteran, do not be messing with this woman, okay? Be good to her. She is good to the community. She's adding not only flavor, but joy to so many people. Just me, just from looking at the pictures. So I will give you all the information on how you can get a hold of her, how you can get something for your next event, because I know we have graduations coming up all over the place, and there's lots of people that are getting married, there's anniversaries, there's birthday parties, and you would be supporting not only a veteran, but you'll be supporting a wonderful person who's putting her heart and soul into whatever she makes for you. So Alexis Cakery, Alexis Hinshaw, I thank you for your time today. You've been listening to Moments with MJ here on BVCR The Ram.
Serving Borrego Valley and the entire San Diego County Backcountry. We are the ramradio.com.